DC here. Hi guys and gals. Well, it is Sunday morning. It's 8:15 and I'm starting breakfast. Not that I'm just going to set this a little bit straighter. See how that goes. There you are. No, not quite. Anyway, I'm starting breakfast and let's see. There, that's a little bit better. Okay. And I have been up for a while already because today, excuse me while I eat though, made some scrambled eggs this morning. Mrs. DC is off. She's at her last day of work. She'll be, well, I said it quite a few times lately, she'll be retiring officially at the end of the month, but since she has vacation and time, today's her last day of work. So the family were getting a little meal ready. I got some flowers downstairs, which I hid yesterday because the stores aren't open here on Sundays, or very few are. So that you got to organize your things on Saturday. And just a little bit of Swiss thing is that, you know, if a vacation, if a holiday falls on any day of the week, that's when we take it. So let's say the last weekend was there was a vacation or a holiday, a Swiss particular holiday on Saturday. Stores are closed on Saturday. And it was the Swiss National Day as well. Yeah. So anyway, if you were wondering, homemade yogurt. I make it just straight from milk using, I was going to say using as my base, which is now many months past, a rather tart yogurt. And I make about 1 liter a week for myself. Okay, but that's not what I was going to talk about. Actually, I was going to talk about, as part of the Veda thing. Now, one of the topics today was a story or something. And I thought, you know, in a way, because Mrs. DC is retiring, and we have now been more than half of our life, I mean the largest part of our life, over 30 more years here in Switzerland, is what was it like the first day we moved to Switzerland? Well, when I think about it, I shouldn't talk with my mouth full. We had been living we lived in Oxford in England before that, and when we flew over here, you have to see there's one thing that's very different. I mean, we all know we make these stereotypes of, you know, the British upper lip and their humor, and you know a lot of it is actually true, but so much is false. But when we came to Switzerland, we flew into Geneva, so from Heathrow to Geneva, and the Swiss will always say Geneva is not Switzerland, meaning that it's very different. It's like it's on the border, it's an international city, and for the Swiss it just doesn't act like Swiss. But if you're coming from somewhere else, man, it's different. It is. I remember waiting on the street corner, and like thinking like when I was in either Canada or particularly in England, when you would have like you had a lot of skinheads at that period. That was in the mid 80s. There was a lot of skinheads, and even there was like families of skinheads. So little kids were skinheads in England, and you know they didn't respect much or whatever. And I remember thinking, hey, look over there. There's actually skinheads in Switzerland. The only difference is that the skinheads in Switzerland were waiting at the street corner like everybody else. They were waiting for the light to go green. And they crossed. They were very orderly. Yeah, they were dressed the same way as the ones in England, but you could tell these were Swiss skinheads. What did you find out? Well, you found out actually is that in Geneva, there was a lot of French people working there. So the French people that were working there, they would park anyway. They would park like 3 deep at the corner of the road when they wanted to go get something. Too bad if you had to leave, and so on. But the Swiss were very orderly. Was it clean? Yeah, it was. It was clean. It wasn't as spick and span as I expected, but I was told, well, you know, this is Geneva. This is not Switzerland. And one thing that you did find out, though, is that a lot of the cleaning was actually done by foreigners. You know, every rich country employs, and I'm talking about Canada, I'm talking about the USA, Switzerland, any place where there's a rich country, very often, a lot of the less good jobs are done by foreigners. Okay, the Swiss were relatively, I say relatively xenophobic. I shouldn't use that word really because it's much harsher, but there were just so many foreigners in Switzerland, especially in Geneva, that one felt, you know, overtaken, actually. And there was what I would call the good foreigners and the bad foreigners then. Yeah. When we moved, we lived 2 years in Geneva. When we moved to a village in the Bernese countryside, where we were some of the only foreigners there then, it was very different. Then we did see what real Switzerland was like, you know, geraniums all over, and you never had to worry about leaving things out at night because they would be there the next day and stuff like that. And people would walk on the streets and they would all say hello to each other, and orderly, spick and span clean, done by the Swiss then. And it was like, okay, this is the Switzerland I was kind of thinking of. There was the mountains in the background and all that. But then you realize actually that each one of them had their own quirks. These Swiss had almost never seen any foreigners. At the church we had a lady from Africa who spent the day with us, and we were out taking a walk. And we were continuously, this is like 1980, it would be early 88 probably. I don't know, maybe 89, but no later than that. People would stop us and they would ask the lady where she was from, so the African lady. I actually don't remember now where she was from. Was it Nigeria? Could be. Doesn't really matter. And some of the elderly ladies would say, could I touch your hair? And they weren't saying that mean. They had just never actually been that close. Think about it. Being that close to a person with, you know, different skin color. Not many people were like that, but you know, some of the farmers, actually quite a few, we were stopped and asked if, you know, and the African lady was surprised actually, because she said, well, you know, in our country we've actually, I have the impression we've seen more white people than this place here, which is close to the Swiss capital, have seen any black people. Were they prejudiced? No, you know something? I don't think they were. At least not those people. They were curious though. And curiosity is not a bad thing. No, anyway. So that's my little story. I gotta eat, because I gotta get things ready. I just finished making, what was it called? Char siu. That's like a Chinese barbecue type marinade, and for roast pork, which is going to marinate all day, and I'm going to barbecue it. And I'm making a whole rice, or brown rice salad. So I've cooked the rice yesterday. It's cold. I'm going to go get some vegetables in the garden. But I'm making it Thai style. So it's kind of an oriental thing. I'm making it Thai style with a peanut butter style dressing. Yeah, should be good. Chunky peanut butter in this case. Okay, so really got to sign off. It's over 9 minutes. So DC telling you to take care on this Sunday. Bye-bye.